Hackers and hackerettes, so welcome to a new video of our Batframe micro PHP framework series. And if you haven't been watching these in order, then please do. I do have a playlist on my channel called I built a PHP micro framework, Batframe, and you should watch these because you'll be missing a lot of context if you don't. Okay. So I was testing the framework right now, and I discovered a quick bug. We do have in the request right here, I am sending score equals to 6. And then we're validating score that is required, and it is an integer, and the minimum is 5. But here it says, even though I'm sending 6, it says that the given data was invalid. This value must be at least 5, even though I am sending 6. So we'll try it again, and we're gonna get the error right here. Okay, so let's make it 3, and we'll see if we get the same error. We do. That's good. Or actually, no, that's not good. That's bad. Let's make this score something bigger. So let's make it 60, and then yeah, it's the same thing. So it doesn't understand that this is a string, or sorry, this is an integer. It thinks that the score is a string. So I'm guessing if I do like 600, this should work, and it does. Even though it doesn't like replace these things here, I thought it would, but it turns out it doesn't. So let's fix that real quick. And here your score is that. Okay, so your score is 600. Let's add a little bit of a space here. So the thing is, we do have a bug right here, which is the integer versus the string error. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is first we're gonna fix this error or this little bug, and then we are gonna do a validate many helper on the request, similar to how we have validate many function right here. And we are also going to do some edit functionality. Well, to keep you interested, I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, so you got to keep watching, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's actually go to the Cloud Code, and then we're going to start from scratch. I am in the correct folder in Batframe right here. So I'm just going to take a screenshot. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then I'm going to add like a little underscore, or like a little line right here. And I'm going to, I don't know if that was caught on the recording or not. I'm going to just do Alt and V to copy the image. And then looking at the image here, you can see that there is a bug in the code, I validated score as an integer and set the minimum to be 3. I am sending 6 in the request, as seen in the bottom part. I essentially just took a screenshot of this, by the way, if you're missing context. As seen in the bottom terminal part. And I got a validation error, which is obviously a bug. Fix it. All right, so I'm gonna show you what the image is. I think I have to double click on it. Actually, I don't know how to open the image. Is it control click? Yes, it's control click. And this is the image that I sent Claude. Okay. So right here is going to investigate the root cause before touching anything. Let me look at the validation and request code, which is good. The one thing that we will be also working on today is, I already said that we're going to be adding the validate many helper on the request class itself. But then also we'll be doing some UI stuff, because our current landing page, which if you haven't seen that already, is this, and while it's functional, it looks absolutely terrible. We want to fix that. So we're gonna like work on some front end stuff today. And the other thing that we're gonna do is actually also a front end thing, is gonna be our errors. So if we go to the source, or not source, sorry, maybe it's in where is it actually? Validation. So view engine, blade one engine, helpers. It doesn't exist here, which is interesting. Maybe it's in the skeleton page. No, it's just layouts and helpers. Okay, so it's asking us a question. We're going to get back to this real quick. How should a numeric string input behave when a type role precedes a size role? Type role coerces, rule set presence, Laravel style. Leave as is, cast in sandbox. So let's see an example of the type rule. So rule integer, and then rule minimum 6. Integer passes, value becomes 6. Okay, rule string, and then rule between. So yeah, I think this is the most interesting thing, which is what I'm gonna choose right here, because if I have rule integer in there, I am checking the type and I'm switching the type by it, which is what I want and what I'd expect will work. If I don't specify anything, then it isn't a string by default anyway, so nothing specific is needed there. Moonwalking. Okay, so we're gonna go back real quick here to the error page, like the exception page. So what we can do is I can go to /user in here. So it's gonna give me 422. That's okay. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add another route. So public function throw, just a function here, and then I'm gonna just throw an exception. And then if I go to /throw, that does not work because I did not get throw. And we get this page. Now I need to know where this page is being rendered from. Uh-oh. Well, my headphone needs to be charged. It's not like I was using it. It just helps me focus when I'm recording. But anyway, let's let it charge for now. Yeah, so the question is, where and how are we rendering the exception page? So what we can look for is, I don't think we have a view for an error. I think it's just global stuff. So the idea of how we can fix or how we can detect that, if we can go to not view, we can go to probably exceptions, HTTP exception. And then here we have get status code, get headers. So this is just throwing an exception. Except, nope, this is not what we're looking for. We go to helpers. We don't have anything here. This is the data storage that we added last video. So if we have a validation exception, which extends HTTP exception, is going to be the exact same thing. But then let's look for the view engine. So if we have a view engine right here, we have render and exists. So let's see. If we have a render, we do have a blade. That is essentially just blade 1, which is the actual blade class that we included from the package. Okay, I do not see a way that we're actually doing the rendering here of the errors. So we do have like extends layouts.app. We have the section of title, right? So yeah, it looks like it's just reusing this app by returning an HTTP exception. So not a specific errors page. So then the question is, where do we actually catch this exception? And how do we phrase it? Which I believe is in the response. So here, normalize header name, send, get body, get headers, get status, body. So here, HTML, new self HTML, which is great. So we have the message, we have previous. Then runtime exception is like a built-in class in PHP. That's okay. Okay, so let's see here. Added an optional coercion closure and a coerce method. Integer casts a numeric string to integer, numeric to int float. That means we added a new rule, I assume. 6 integer turns it into 3. Okay, so it looks like it solved the problem. So we're gonna leave this right now, and we're gonna try what was failing earlier. So let's send that, and there we go. So your score is 3. So this is correct. If you go to the sandbox, we go to source and then app. There we go. We do have name and then we have score. So now because we have this as an integer, let's do numeric, which should also work. But if we remove that, that means it's gonna fail. Yeah, exactly. This value must be at least 3. Now this error message is confusing because we're sending like literally a string. So I could change score to like TE, which is still under 3 characters. But because it's string now, it's testing for 3 characters, which sending 3 characters works. But yeah, that's okay for now. That's acceptable. I'm not gonna bother fixing this right now. But I want to test something. The given data, this value must be numeric. Yes. This is good. But then also in the error structure, we have a problem right here. So it says errors. This value must be numeric, but it doesn't mention that it's the score error. Or like the score parameter, because score is the parameter that we're testing against. But then it doesn't tell me here that we're actually talking about the score parameter. So this is something that is worthy of testing or of fixing. I'm going to take a screenshot again, and then I'm going to tell Claude. The error message here does not specify that the error exists in the score parameter. The fix should be in the errors array, add the errors key, or add the errors param name as the key. I guess this is a good enough explanation. So let's see if it actually honors that request and if it understands it. And then once we're done with this, we're going to focus on the error message that we have, or the exception here. So I do have an exception here, and it says this is a test exception. So what we could do is I could search in Batframe, not folder history, find in folder, and then what I want to search for is probably going to be like exception message, maybe. We got nothing. Great. Exception. So this is exception class. We do have the exception and return response JSON. This is if request wants JSON, which we don't care about. So this is the render exception method. This is in the Batframe.php public or like global thing. So we do have a response HTML. So we have the bug error page. So it's built in. Okay. Okay, so the debug built in, or the debug error page is just built in. I don't know how I feel about that one. I think it's compact. It works. It's good. Like it's functional. But I don't know if it should live like that, which I kind of don't care about a bit. Like if it works, I guess. But then we could like definitely improve this page. This feels like very, although it does serve the purpose pretty well. Like it is a small, comprehensible um like error page, so this would be useful. But then again, I think it could look prettier. It definitely could look prettier. So we're gonna be working in the UI, and then if we don't like it, we're just gonna like revert back and cancel it. So there's nothing set in stone here. There's no contract or anything similar like that. So we are gonna wait for the validation here to be updated. So it's updating AI Claude. AI Cloud.md. So it looks like it did update the error. So let's test it. So we're gonna send that right here, and then the given data errors score, this value must be numeric. And I do like that it's an array, because we could have multiple problems with a single parameter. So if we go back here to app, and we do have a numeric rule min, and then we could have not a max, because we cannot trigger both of them. Let's check what other rules we have that we could violate. So it could be in, yeah, we can violate that. So it could be like in 4 and 5, right? So it can only be 4 or 5. Okay. So even though we do have 2, so 2 is both less than minimum, and it's not in 4 and 5. Yeah, perfect. And it does work. So we do have both errors right here. Nice. That's good. That's good. So new test in test, red then green, full suite, all passing, great. So everything is ready. Commit, push, tag, and release it. So this is only going to affect Batframe, like the main thing itself. This is also one more reason why you should always test AI stuff. If you take everything for guaranteed, you're gonna discover bugs, because there are some things that are just either not the way you want them to work, just from a business perspective, or things that that are kind of broken, like how the error message did not have a key right here, which is very confusing. So yeah, this is one of the main reasons why you should always test AI, and why AI specialists, like people that actually know engineering and know how to use AI well, are a very good combo and not necessarily replacing each other. So are engineers still needed? You can see the proof right here in this video. So not everything is gonna work perfectly. And if you are non-technical and you don't know what's going on, it's gonna be super hard to like debug these problems and actually understand what the cause is, and then guide prompt into fixing it in the right direction. So yeah, I think engineers are still useful in my opinion. Okay, cool. So now we do have everything Notices on the window chat, no errors, tagged. So let's open the tag, make sure everything is working. It does work, so everything is good. Okay, so I'm gonna clear the context because the previous context here does not matter. Clearing the context means just starting a new chat, essentially. If you ever want to go back to the old chat, you can do /resume, and then you can choose one of the older chats right here. Press escape to cancel that, and then we're gonna be working on this completely new chat, and it is a good start for us to work on the next thing. I want to beautify the landing page or the landing/starting page of the application. Right now it feels super dull. Also, while you're at it and have the front end skill loaded, beautify the error or the exception/error rendering page because it feels super basic. Okay, so we're adding two things at once here. We could have asked Claude to launch a workflow and like tackle both in parallel. It might even do that itself. We'll see. But I don't think it's like a huge deal if we wait for things, because like opening multiple flows is gonna consume tokens faster, and you might want to like reiterate on the thing that's running in the background. So right now it tackles this, you make sure it's okay, and while it's tackling the other thing, you could like steer it in the right direction, like live essentially, without it wasting too many tokens in the wrong direction. So just trying to be like token conscious is going to save you money, of course. Because, well, even though I'm on a subscription, so I'm paying the max subscription like $100 a month regardless. But if I can save tokens, I can use these tokens on something else that's actually useful and not being burnt because Claude was walking in the wrong direction. Okay. So right now it's actually looking for example pages, views. I guess it's looking for the landing page and error rendering code. The examples app error rendering. So it's in a, it looks like I found it in the example, but probably not what we're looking for, because what we should really be looking at is probably going to be the skeleton here. One thing, so I'm gonna Control C, by the way, to steer it in the right direction. One thing real quick. The starting or /landing page is actually in the, and then I'm gonna specify it. So Batframe skeleton, not sandbox, skeleton repo or like folder or directory, not in this backend directory. So this is probably where it should be fixed. Another thing is the error page is written directly in code. I don't know if I like that or not. Maybe the user wants to change their error pages. So allow a custom or like a custom error page setting. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that. A custom error page setting to be set in the app. All right. So we actively steered it in the correct direction or in the right direction. So let's see what it's going to do right now. Good corrections. Let me look at the skeletons landing page and understand the setup there. That's super easy. We already have Claude MD set up in skeleton, so it should be pretty quickly. This video will not be super long like the previous videos. I don't think making like hour-long videos is good, neither for you nor for me, honestly. We just spend so much time looking at Claude. And I do not edit my videos on purpose because looking at the time and what we could do during that time is important, because the more and more AI you use, the more and more time you're going to have on your hands. Of course, you should not completely trust AI and let it run in the background. You should be keeping an eye on what it's doing, but then you can just keep checking on it every now and then, because it might be in the wrong direction, just like what we saw right now. But again, because right now I believe we have completely steered in the right direction, it's just doing some reconnaissance, checking files and stuff like that. So I can safely just yeet it in the background and work on something else completely. Which is something that we actually forgot about. We're making the validate mini. Which is, I'm going to show you something cool. Error view config key, errors status. So in the views errors status, both setting bus convection config, no. So it should be like a convention, errors status. This is going to be the easiest way. So you make like an errors folder in the views, and then in there you have the status code.blade.php, and it should work. So I'm going to open another git bash repo, or like, not repo, terminal. And then I'm going to type work, and then I'm going to go into projects. I'm going to go into Batframe, and then I'm going to start Claude. So I'm going to have two Claudes running at the same time. Now, there is one thing to be careful of right here, because they could interfere with each other, honestly. So even though relatively they'll be doing different things, but I don't want them to like clash with each other, because they're working on the same project, on the same files. So could be a scenario where they're both editing the same file and it ends up to break things. So I'm going to be like super careful here. I'm thinking, like, I'm debating myself if I should do that. And probably not. No. We're not going to do that, because I don't want to risk, like, basically they will break each other's work. So it says convention it is. Let me check the view engine interface for a template existence check. All right. So while we're waiting, we do have Batframe skeleton right here, which we're not going to worry about, actually. We're going to be working in the Batframe sandbox. And in the sandbox right here, we do have two request validations. Wait, it's asking us a question. Okay. When an exception renders its HTML, resolves the page in this order. Error status, errors error, a catch-all for anything without a specific file. Built-in page, beautified when neither exists. The resolve view receives status and message. It's covered by file name, exactly like pages. No setting to author. Debug still wins for 500s when debug is on and status is greater than or equal to 500. The built-in stack trace page shows regardless. So you keep the trace while developing. Convention views cover the production path and all non-500 statuses. Document this sharp edge in the contract. Cool. Re-entrancy guard rendering a convention view is wrapped so that if the error template itself throws, Batframe silently falls back to the built-in page. Okay, that's good. JSON is untouched. visual direction, one system across landing plus error pages. The landing hero is the transformer. PHP method signatures resolving into their blah 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 palette space grotesque error pages. I think it's okay. I believe it's just really good. I'm a visual person, so I'd rather see than judge from a document. Looks good to me. Start implementing and we'll reiterate if necessary. So now we give it a hint that we might reiterate, so it's okay. It's gonna start with TDD stuff. And yeah, so while we're here, let's open the exception page just to refresh it whenever we are testing. One thing that we could also improve is encryption. So right now we have the database file completely unencrypted. So the file here, like this JSON file. So we could actually add an encryption layer on top of the JSON file, which encrypts and decrypts the file every time we need to do some stuff with it. Which it should be like an added layer of security. And I think this is like what we could do right now, but we're not gonna do the encryption in this video. We're gonna do that in a later video. So we're gonna finalize the design, like the UI design, and then we're gonna move to the validate many, and that's it. Honestly, we will call it a day because we are doing decent progress actually on this micro framework. I can see that I can use this in a real project in the future. I'm thinking of like an API placeholder, kind of like the Star Wars API. If you don't know that, I think it's called STR API, I guess, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. Or no, Swappy, SW API. Yeah. Swappy. Swappy, not Swappo. The Star Wars API, yes. The Star Wars API is the world's first quantified and programmatically formatted set of Star Wars data. After hours of watching films and trawling through content online, we'll present to you all the people, films, species, starships, vehicles, and planets from Star Wars. JSON exposed to you in RESTful-ish implementation. So if you don't know this, you can like use it because it's a cool like placeholder. So here it gives you like a little result set. So we can build something like that, but for something different than Star Wars. We could use like we could do something else. Maybe the Minions movie, like Despicable Me and Minions and stuff like that. Which is going to be super interesting. But right now we're actually gonna like finalize the main features that we want to see, and from there we could like add more and more features to this. What started as a micro framework but is now going to be a, I don't know, small framework. So right now it added convention-based custom error pages or error page resolution. That's good. Beautify built-in error pages, beautify skeleton landing page, update contract, and Claude MD. So it looks like we do have a valid, like a robust plan that it's working through, which is great. So it did open Chrome just to look at. If you don't know how it did that, okay, I should probably explain this. I do have the extension, Claude extension, installed in Chrome and installed in the CLI. So the CLI tool knows about it essentially. And because it knows about it, it can just invoke. Wow, that is a huge update or upgrade over what it was last. Wow. Convention over configuration, no route table. Why does it say no route table here? Well, that's cool actually. That's super cool. Anyway, so it has Claude, or Claude has access to Claude in Chrome tool. If you don't know how to do that, you can just type Claude in Chrome, like right here. And it can essentially just run the tool for it and opens a Chrome page, and it has full control over it. This is why Chrome just popped open and it auto-navigated to this page. So Claude is doing that probably just to confirm that the page is open correctly and how it looks like. So it can see that Batframe is loading and it's looking good. It's looking good. That's a strong result. 2 refinements. The arrow between method and route is nearly invisible. This arrow. That's cool. JetBrains Mono's ligature turned this into this in the code sample. Misleading in a PHP starter. Okay. It's talking about this ligature right here. Let me give it a refresh. Oh, it's looking at it in mobile view, I guess. And it's using Playwright. So Playwright is just doing a bunch of things, a bunch of crazy things to it. So this is looking like really good to me. Although we do have some problems with the mobile, but that's okay. Let me check mobile layout. Error reads well now. Let me verify the ligature fix is literal now, so that means the ligature was removed. That's good. Mobile stacks cleanly. The landing page or the landing design is locked. Now I'll port it to the skeleton's blade files. Blade needs its CSS, media, keyframes protected with verbatim. So I'll wrap the style sheet. Okay, I think we can close this now. And if Claude needs it, it could just like reopen it. So it does have like a lot of CSS that we might want to cancel and use Tailwind, but I don't want to force Tailwind on people that just want to use HTML and CSS, like for something super simple. But I do think Tailwind is kind of awesome right now. So we could like improve it later on by introducing Tailwind by default, and then you could essentially just remove it if you don't want it. Or we could include like the production minified version as a CDN, and instead of including it directly with the project. I think that's gonna be like an easy way to get started, and then we can get more complex as well. I don't know if the framework is gonna grow. It's probably going to grow, but not to like a huge level. So I don't want to make promises that I'm not gonna keep. So I guess we'll get to it when we get to it. We might actually not have enough time. I don't want this video to run super long, so I don't want to have to add the validate many request helper. So I'm probably gonna just do that. I'll do it on screen in case if you want to watch it, but if like when I start doing that, you could leave the video if you think it's too long and you got bored already. So it's going to Batframe skeleton. It's completely dropping the cache. Right, looking good. It's just a view. Name a method for its verb. Get widgets. Method is the route. You wrote a class. Batframe read your method names and their signatures. Answered if URL below. No route table. Nothing to register. This is why it says no route table here. Convention over configuration. No route table. I love it. The real skeleton render matches the preview exactly. Blade compiled the verbatim CSS cleanly. Landing page done. Now the built-in error pages, self-contained system fonts. Let me build previews for both the generic and debug pages. So right now I believe it's gonna build like an HTML. Yes, it's doing that in the scratchpad, which is something that Claude deletes essentially after it's done with. So it just adds them for it needs them for itself to test stuff, and then it just takes care of it immediately after it's done testing. So don't worry about anything gets added in scratchpads thinking like you're polluting the that's beautiful. That is super beautiful. I love this. That is super cool. And here we have the exception. This looks absolutely gorgeous as well. Something exploded internally while resolving the widget factory. Set app debug to false to hide this. Wonderful. I really love this. That's super cool. Page routes, boom. Clean and striking. Now the debug page. The debug page reads like a real dev tool, but www appears tinted red in the trace on every line. No, it's not. Is he colorblind? That's a real issue or a screenshot artifact. We could tell it that it's www is genuinely red. The browser is injecting it. No, it's not. www is rendered correctly in white for me in the error debug.html file. So if you see it red, you have something wrong in your eyes. Lol. Let's see if it understands that joke. So what I did is I Control-C in order to stop the process. And it just halts. It doesn't like make Claude forget everything. So the context is still there. You are in the same context window. So yeah. We just Control-C and then we told it that it's correct. I think it's talking about this. I don't know if it's actually talking about this debug file or... Huh, fair enough. That's a rendering quirk on my end, not the page. This is white, nothing to fix. The previews are good. Let me port both into PHP methods. Hero doc for readability, keeping all HTML special cars, skipping intact. Okay. So we can close this right now and wait for it to port it to PHP, and probably is going to do another test once it ports it from the actual page or from like the actual framework. So here, since we have throw, it's not yet ported to our application. So we can just wait for it to be ported and we'll see what we get from there. Flush left here docs and keep in every HTML special cars call. The debug page additionally splits the namespace and highlights the trace frame indices. That is a big function. Okay, so test screen. Now let me verify the real framework output by driving example apps error path. Let's see if that works. Boom, it does work beautifully. Called 1MCP, both render. Let me screenshot the real framework generated. Debug 404 page. So let's do something that does not exist. We get 404, which is absolutely beautiful. So here we still have control over this. This is ours, and you can see here that this is controlled by Claude and MCP. So we can just let it cook here. But this is like a big upgrade. These new visuals are just super cool. Super duper cool. Calling playwright 2 times. So here, this is the 404. Both built-in pages render correctly from the live framework. Task 2 done. Let me clean up the stray screenshots, servers, then update the docs. Wonderful. So here you can see that it is doing an RMRF of the files, the screenshots and the scratch pads that it did. So here it looks like it's killing the MCP servers that it did, like the playwright servers. So it's essentially just doing a housekeeping. Although it did not upgrade the page right here, because I assume that we are returning the page routes. So we're returning the oh wait, no, this is the about page. Sorry about that. It should be in the views. Yeah, views home. This is what we're returning right here. So we should essentially just remove this. So if we go to app and then page routes actually, and then view home, we could just completely delete that. So if we delete that, actually, I want to see what happens. We get a 404, which is expected. Nice. So let me confirm what change in the skeleton repo, separate get repo, so I can report cleanly. All right. Want me to tune anything on visual? I did not commit anything, change files, the skeletons. 2 things to flag. Is dormant until the skeleton pumps its Batframe dependency. Its vendor copy is the pre-feature version. Landing page works today, regardless. After release, composer update, I left the examples, but why is it on composer release? The sandbox should actually be doing a pass, so it's incorrect about that part, because we do have the actual Batframe just or does it mean the skeleton? Oh no, never mind, it's talking about the skeleton. Yeah, not the sandbox. Okay, so for example, for the example app and no. So what we're gonna do, commit, push, tag, and release both Batframe and the skeleton. Also update the minimum version if required. I don't think it's required anymore because it will just get whatever is new with a minimum of 0. What was it, 7 that we did last time? I don't remember. But it's just going to take care of updating things here. So what we could do is we could go to a new Claude. And then while we're here, this should be pretty quickly. So in Batframe, we're going to start Claude. And then in a completely new window, let's add a request validate many helper method that just calls the global validate many helper, similar to how request validate works. So just like that, we're gonna turn it into auto mode because I'm pretty sure this is gonna be like super simple to do. I am authorized now. Let me guess with the current versions and remotes for both repos before committing. So yeah, it looks like we can essentially just relax because right now Batframe is at 0.11.0. Resolves to 0.8 only. Wait, why? Doesn't that mean with a minimum of 0.8? Doesn't mean that the minimum version should be 0.8 but grab the latest if higher? Or did I misunderstand that? I thought that's what it meant. Composer lock is gonna ignore in the skeleton, so the warning is just my local stale lock, irrelevant to the repo. Okay. Good question. I catch a real subtlety. Your intuition is right for versions greater than or equal to 1.0, but Composer treats 0.x specially. Oh. 1.2 means greater than 1.2.0 and less than 2.0.0. Minimum 1.2. Grab anything higher below 2.0. Oh. Oh. Exactly why skeleton is at 0.8 has been silently stuck. Oh. Okay. So it's adding a good constraint here, which is interesting. The working tree also contains a second complete feature that is a mine request validate many. Wait, is it actually done? Oh yes, it's done. Okay, so yeah, I knew it was gonna be super quick, but I did not think it was gonna actually be 1 minute and 51 seconds quick. But that's okay. Let me confirm the tree is green. Tree is green, including validate many. Included, yes, included, please. So it's going to be one push for everything. So yeah, this video is also coming up on 1 hour. I do apologize for that, but we do have a bunch of things to do together to make Batframe great again. So yeah, if you're bored, thank you for watching. I don't think there will be anything new here. We will just confirm that everything is working. I'm gonna handle the versioning. and we are going to release a new version today. If you want to leave, sure. If you want to stay with me through the entire thing, I'm just going to keep recording and pushing it because I want to make sure that everything is captured and the build is fully public. So right now we have both commits in, push tag 0.11.0, release Batframe per the keyring note. So we do have that. Custom error pages by convention. Request validate many. Push the main, running 2 shell commands. Both commits in, now push the tag, which is already done, I assume. So we have a git commit. All right, looks like we are super good. We have everything pushed up. So if we go to packages right now, and then I could just go to packages Batframe, we can see that we have 0.11.0, which is great. I included the pre-existing request validate many feature per your call. Its own commit and history stays legible. If it turns out it was mid-flight work you wanted to hold, tell me. Got a follow-up. No, we have everything working pretty well. The one thing that I want to also make sure of is we go here. Oh, you don't see what I'm doing. There it is. And then my packages, and then we have Batframe skeleton. And it is version 1.2.0. And there we go. There we have it right here. Okay, looks like we got everything running. I don't want to make this video any longer. It's still below an hour, which is good. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we're going to do a little bit more refactoring about things that I like. And we're probably going to be adding some more features, so stay tuned for that. See ya.